Hello, Steve again. This video is covering Lab 2 in IT 150. There were a lot of different activities that were done in this lab, so not all of my virtual machines may be available, but we'll take a look at what's left here. We're going to start looking at IT 150's DC1. This was the original domain controller that was set up along with DC2. If we look in here, we can see all the different users. Some of these are from Lab 1. Um, they're in here and available. If we jump over to the new DC1 and we take a look at Active Directory, we'll see that those same users are in there. So these end up being transferred via bare metal restore of a DC. I tried to do a system restore, but I found I ran into a lot of issues with that. One thing, if you try to do a system restore and your screen locks out on the when the screen turns off, you have to enter your username again. If that occurs while it's doing a system restore, you won't be able to get back in. And I found it corrupted a lot of machines that way. Um, Even when it did work, once I figured that out, turned it off, I found all the data was transferred successfully. However, for some reason, Active Directory wasn't booting up as it should. It wasn't visible when I went to open this Active Directory users tool. It said it couldn't connect. So the only successful way I found was using the bare metal restore. That was the quickest, even though it took more time than it should have, but ended up with a working Active Directory. So we can see on the VMs here, I also have the bare metal DC that was used on that restore. It is off though because I ended up seizing roles onto a new copy of the DC. So once a role is seized, that machine can never come back online. Otherwise, you'll run into basically two domain controllers with the same roles assigned to it. So they'll be interfering with each other and cause issues. So that one will stay down. DC2 is up and running. On here I can show you how, actually that was DC1, I can demonstrate how seizing and transferring roles occurs. And that is done using NTDS utility. There is a GUI version for transferring roles. I kept running into issues with it though, so I just stuck with the command line interface. So if I were going through and transferring a role, that would occur when both domain controllers are online and working. I would enter those commands. First go to connections, then connect to the server I want to modify. Then I would go to transfer the role. And if I were to continue with this, I would click yes, but it's already set, so we'll cancel that. But I went through and did that with 5 different roles. Schema Master, PDC, the Infrastructure Master, Naming Master, and Schema. Basically, on domain controllers, there's one server that can hold the role. Those roles can be spread out to different domain controllers, but only one in a forest can hold that. That's so you don't run into collision issues with one trying to update the other, and there just has to be one primary. So in the part of the exercise where a domain controller went down, I used the same utility but with seized roles. So that's an extreme measure. Only it's preferable to do a transfer if you can, but if there's no way that domain controller is coming back up, we can seize the role. Takes a little bit longer to verify that it's actually down, but in the end we get the same result, and the domain, the Active Directory domain will keep working properly. So that was how I handled that. And the last part I'll show you is the sharing of folders and printers. So if I go into File Explorer here, right now we have a network share at anishinaabemowin.com, IT50 share, and then another file or folder. So I have a new file in here. I have some words, so so we'll update this file. We'll go and save that. And if we jump back over to DC2, we should be able to go to that same file share. And that same folder's there. If we open new file, we can see that IT is Fun has been updated. So any computer on the domain has access to this file share. I even have another computer set up. We can take a look here. Alright, and if we go and look at the folders, there it is. We can see that same file. So any computer on the domain can access that share, as well as printers. So I set up a Lexmark printer. It's just a driver. There's no physical printer. But I set it up as it's connected physically to DC1. So if we look here, it's Lexmark on DC1-new. If I go over to DC2, DC2 new, where is that? Control panel, hardware, devices and printers. We can see that this domain controller also has access to DC1 and the printer. And so basically what I did with that, I connected it, set up the driver, and then made it available for share. Then I went to each station where we want access to the printer from. We go to add a new printer, and it'll automatically come up on the listing, and we just add it like any other device. For the file share, I used DFS, and that was set up. Where am I? If we go to Server Manager, we should see the options for it once this loads up. DFS management. So we have namespaces and replication. Replication is set up to basically store a file or folders on multiple domain controllers. So this can provide redundancy in case one domain controller goes down. That data is still available. However, if you do that, all the data will be in two places at once. So if your network has a storage area, a SANS device, it's probably preferable to use that, but if you're a small organization, you have a couple files, replication would work good. Then file share. Basically, I made I believe well, let's see, if I added, basically it's tied to the domain, so instead of having to type DC1-new/IT share, I could just type in the domain, which is preferable if you have a network, a lot of users using it, it's easier to remember. And then you go in and add each folder and make it available to the users you'd like. it's pretty straightforward, pretty handy tool. Um, yeah, other than that, that's lab 2. There's a bit more, but it was mostly things that little settings here and there, easy to find. But this was the bulk of the project here. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.